Annabeth's knife is the primary weapon that Annabeth uses throughout her adventures in the Riordanverse. We saw it a couple of times in the TV show, but like a lot of other aspects in the show, it wasn't explained so much, which is a bit of a shame because Annabeth's knife would play a very vital role in the later books and the future seasons. So in this video, I'll be explaining it, its origins, and what happens to it throughout the series. As usual, there will be spoilers for the upcoming books in the PJO series, so you've been warned. And with that, let's get into it. Annabeth's knife is made of celestial bronze, which is the material used to kill monsters, demigods, gods, giants, titans, and anything supernatural. Annabeth has owned the dagger since she was 7 years old, but a couple of things happened before it got to her, so let's go over the knife's history. The story starts with a demigod son of Apollo named Halcyon, who we're introduced to in a companion book known as the Demigod Diaries. Being a son of Apollo, Hal could see into the future, and with this power, Apollo warned Hal to not act upon what Hal saw, because this would alter fate and anger the gods. Hal, however, disobeyed his father by saving a young girl's life, who was the first known owner of Annabeth's knife. As a token of thanks for saving her, the girl gave Hal the knife, and told them that the knife was said to always protect the owner. The gods were enraged when they found out what Hal had done, and because of this, Apollo punished Hal by locking Hal inside his childhood home in Virginia, where monsters known as Lacrata roamed the place. Inside the house was a known artifact, which was the Aegis shield. This house became bait for demigods who wished to find the shield, but no demigod even managed to get near it, because they were quickly eaten up by the Lacrata. Fast forward a couple of years, demigods Castellan and Thalia Grace stumbled upon Hal's house, and Hal ended up feeling bad for them and decided to try helping them. Being a son of Hermes, Luke was able to open a safe, which is where the Aegis shield was, and Thalia would use it later on. When the Lacrata is about to attack them, Hal gives the very dagger that the girl had given him all those years ago, and a diary to Luke Castellan, and by the end of the chapter, Hal sacrifices himself to save Luke and Thalia from the Lacrata. After this incident, Thalia and Luke rest for a bit at their campsite when they hear a noise. This noise ended up being a 7-year-old Annabeth Chase. Luke and Thalia befriended Annabeth, and Luke gave her Hal's knife. As Luke gave this knife to Annabeth, Luke told her that he'd always be there for her, and that he and Thalia would be Annabeth's new family. From then on, Annabeth would own that knife almost all her life. She first used it during her travel to Camp Half-Blood with Thalia, Luke, and a sailor named Grover Underwood. On the journey, they took some wrong turns that resulted to Thalia and Luke being trapped by Cyclopses, and Annabeth uses that dagger to stab the Cyclops on the foot to save them. Once they arrive at Camp Half-Blood, Annabeth continues to use the knife and trained with it constantly. With this training, Annabeth became a very skilled knife fighter, and it became her signature weapon. From there, Annabeth used it in the Lightning Thief a couple of times in her quest when fighting monsters, like when she used it to fight the Furies when she, Percy, and Grover were attacked on the bus. Annabeth also used the knife in the Sea of Monsters a couple of times, like when she killed the Laestrygonian giants to save Percy and Tyson. She killed an attacking Stymphalian bird. She fought the Hydra with it, and attacked Circe in the same book. She also used this to attack the Manticore in the Titan's Curse, and to fight off the Sphinx in the Battle of the Labyrinth. Out of all these events, the knife was most important in the last book of PJO, also known as The Last Olympian. This knife would be a part of the Great Prophecy through the line, "The hero's soul cursed blade shall reap." This cursed blade was Annabeth's knife, and it's called that way because of Luke's betrayal in the Lightning Thief. The knife was a symbol of Luke's promise that he, Annabeth, and Thalia would always be a family, but when Luke sided with Kronos, he broke that promise, which cursed the knife. The next line of the prophecy is called, "A single choice shall end his days," and this continues with the knife. In The Last Olympian, Luke was trying to fight against Kronos from taking control of his body, and he told Percy that the only way to kill Kronos was through Luke killing himself with Annabeth's knife. Percy had to make the decision of either keeping or giving the knife to Luke, which was a difficult choice to make, as Luke had constantly betrayed Percy in the past and could kill Percy with the knife if Percy had given it to him. Percy then made the choice of giving the knife to Luke, and Luke came through as a hero by killing himself, which also killed Kronos. From that point, Annabeth continues to use her knife in the Heroes of Olympus. She used it to alert Percy for help against Octavian in the Romans in the Mark of Athena, wherein she tossed the knife into the river. Percy got the signal and splashed the Romans into the water, and Percy got Annabeth's knife. In the same book, Percy and Annabeth ended up falling into Tartarus, and once they landed there in the House of Hades, Annabeth ended up losing that knife. Because of this, she replaced it with a dragonbone sword that she got from the giant Damison. And that's all we know about Annabeth's knife so far. It's a small detail that we notice in the Disney Plus show, but it ultimately has an interesting history that many people tend to overlook. Little did they know that this knife would ultimately be the key to either Olympus' destruction or preservation in The Last Olympian, as it played a huge role in the Great Prophecy. So how about you? What do you think of Annabeth's knife's history? Let me know in the comments down below.